and the Gates of Agony have got Luchasaurus. They're kidnapping a dinosaur. Sounds like another day in Chicago, Shivani. Want to go get some deep dish? Why, sure, Brain. A little bit later, this is the single greatest deep dish pizza in the history of our sport. I'm John Renton with my review of AEW World's End 2025 from the Now Arena in Chicago, Illinois. Oh boy, where to start? I'll probably start at the beginning. When I get to the end, I'll stop. But speaking of ends, I may be reaching the end of my full-time coverage of AEW. I'll explain why in due course. So, the arena holds around 11,000. They had around 9,000. And for a bit, the crowd was pretty raucous. And then the crowd kind of went into business for themselves. And given how some of the earlier main card turned out, I kind of don't blame them. That being said, maybe give Chicago a bit of a cooling period as far as pay-per-views and run other markets. Nevertheless, Adam Cole runs down the C2 coverage as far as the semifinals and the finals. We better get used to Adam Cole providing analysis because he's never going to wrestle again. And honestly, if he's unhealthy, he shouldn't. His health and well-being long-term is what's most important. Excalibur, Shivani, and Nigel on commentary. They would switch out Danielson here and there. And I'm sorry, but Excalibur sucks. Shivani probably doesn't need to be doing commentary that often. And Danielson needs somebody better to work with. We need Taz back. We need JR to turn back the clock 20 years, but unfortunately he won't be able to. That being said, the Sisters of Sin took on Hyon and Maya World, and apparently Hyon and Maya World got signed to AEW. Good for them. It was what it was. The hometown reaction for Sky was nice. So apparently, the referee was allowed to notice that the illegal woman was being pinned. This was one of the only times referees were allowed to enforce the rules. And the Sisters of Sin won. Not a bad match. It was what it was. Eddie Kingston took on Zach Gibson with James Drake. And, yeah, all right. I mean, Eddie ran down there and started hot, and the crowd loved Eddie, and he won it with a DDT. It sounds like I'm skipping over these 0-hour matches. It's not that they're bad. It's just that they're thrown together. I mean, really, the Sisters of Sin and Hyon and Maya World were the only ones announced when I did my predictions. Then they announced an 8-person tag that I'll talk about here in a bit, or I'll just rage about. I don't really know. But they added 3 pre-show matches last minute. I am all for people getting more of a chance to wrestle, and especially since they get a pay-per-view payoff, but Good God. This show, the main show went 4 hours. The main show should have gone about 3:15. There's such a thing as quality control. I understand giving people more for their money because, yes, people are paying $40 on HBO Max or $50 on Amazon if you're in the States or anywhere where you don't get stuff for a low price like in the UK or other parts of Europe. But still. So, Dorado and Bandito took on Rocky Romero and Mark Davis. Why? Why exactly? Mark Davis has just not meant shit since he's come to AEW. And I know he's had injuries, and he's not bad, but he's just unremarkable without Fletcher. He hasn't really meant the same since, I think he substituted rather for Will Ospreay, and it was the New Japan Cup or the G1. I forget which one. I think it was the New Japan Cup. He subbed for him in one tournament, and that was a few years ago. But nevertheless, it was what it was. Rocky took the pin after a 21 plex, and the Chicago crowd loves Lucha. Yes, they do. They love Lucha. How about you? El Colon is showing up on Collision in January. I know what his name is. It's a stupid gimmick, so I'm going to call him that. Jet Speed and the Jurassic Express took on the Demand that are not in demand besides Bishop Khan. Bishop Khan really should be being featured. Bishop Khan. So, Josh Alexander, Mr. Personality himself. Yeah, Don Callis wanted the Demand to do stuff like take out the dinosaur. So they did. Then they took out Jack Perry. To be fair, a slight breeze could take out Jack Perry. They did mention how, he's at 115 wins for his AEW career and 0-1 in backstage fights, even if he just gets choked a little bit. So, yeah, they took out They took Luchasaurus to the back, more on that in a bit, and everybody just did stuff. I mean, the divide and conquer thing was nice if it involved more than one person I cared about. If Ricochet wasn't so bald and was more interesting, I would care. If Josh Alexander had personality, I would care. Eventually Jack Perry did come back. Luchasaurus came back in after getting bandaged up, but that didn't stop him from helping, Jack Perry get the victory by pinning Ricochet. So Jack Perry gets a national championship match on this upcoming Dynamite, which I will probably review. I mean, I'll see, but I don't know. I think Wrestle Kingdom might be the peak of my wrestling reviewing for a while. So there we are. I thought Kevin Knight might have hurt his knee. He seems okay. Hopefully he is. Pyro and the Hot Crowd and Danielson joined commentary. And I like Danielson. I would like him a lot better if he chose better talents to push for. He pushes for Garcia and Yuta. You could have Garcia and Yuta grow about 6 inches and grow 50 more pounds, and they still wouldn't draw shit. So, Takeshita versus Okada. Semi-final match, and okay, here we go. IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Takeshita against Okada defending his championship, and it was a perfect opportunity that they failed to utilize. I do not understand at all why they did this, because you can't tell me that the result they went with here did not end up killing some of the energy in this crowd. Okada was healing it up, and Okada tried here. I'll give him that much credit. Take to the dive. He got his head and neck worked on. And there was an air raid neck breaker. Like, again, when Okada wants to try, he's still pretty good. He's not great because he's past his prime. But, we got tombstone reversals. We got some good action here, but unfortunately, we then got one of the dumbest goddamn finishes. And I get why they tried to do something like this, given how it played into the next match, but it's still dumb, because it's a dumb spot. Okada managed to get the screwdriver, that Don Callis has been using for the better part of 2.5 years, because why not? You stab somebody in the head with a screwdriver, it's a 2 count. With a fucking screwdriver. Anyway, so how did the referee not see that? How? Was that referee Paul Turner? Whichever referee that was, they made them look like an idiot. And Okada won. And that right there killed the crowd energy for a while. It pretty much killed my interest in the show, to be perfectly honest. Because I'm sick of Okada. I am absolutely just sick of seeing this stuff. And Take losing here, it's just... There are people now that think, Takeshita will interfere and cost Okada the match against Tanahashi, which, great, he wins his final match, but Tony probably should worry more about his own company. Kyle Fletcher took on Jon Moxley. Okay, some are cheering Moxley, which I don't understand. I mean, if you like Moxley, it's fine. This Death Rider stuff was terrible. His character arc. It's been a flat line. This whole thing has flatlined as far as I'm concerned. Now, if you like it, I'm not going to knock you one bit. They did some good stuff, and there was at least a halfway decent amount of wrestling. But the thing is, they still have to go outside, because Moxley can't control himself, because Moxley refuses to actually fucking wrestle more than, is barely required, like more than the bare minimum is what I was trying to say. Kyle worked on the ankle and then a brainbuster on the apron. Should have been the finish. No, it wasn't the finish. Moxley lost a tooth. Dental plan. Tony needs, to get Mox a replacement. Kyle then lands on his head off the top. I thought he was dead. Fortunately, he's all right. 1 counts or people kick out. That's my favorite. Let's no sell that shit. Brainbuster for 2. Way to make the finish not matter. First he hit on the apron. There was no finish there. And he hit it here. So Moxley is apparently indestructible. And a pair of dime shift and a death rider. 1, 2, kick out. And then a sleeper. And then Kyle's face is turning purple. So, oh my God, he passed out. And Moxley won. That's great. That's fucking great. Moxley's character arc. I'd rather just swing myself up and just launch myself Evel Knievel style and just land in a goddamn ravine. I am sick of this Death Rider stuff. So Kyle then clipped Moxley's knee afterwards, which probably should have telegraphed how this was going to go. FTR, along with a small child, a.k.a. Stokely, took on Juice and Austin. It's Austin Gunn? Yeah, it's Austin Gunn. Chicago Street Fight for the AEW tag titles. And besides the fact that FTR are more than capable of putting on a great match, and hopefully maybe Jay White will come back and we can rekindle him and Juice teaming up against FTR and maybe try to come close to matching that terrific 2 out of 3 falls match on one of the earlier collisions. Hopefully they do something like that, because this wasn't it, Chief. I'm sorry. Same as it ever was. Just throw more weapons in. Let's just have everybody bleed. At least Juice bled. I think Austin might have bled. I stopped caring after a bit, because if I don't like when they keep doing this on television, if I don't like when WWE does it, if I don't just... You have to have some quality control here, folks. Tag team wrestling used to be good in AEW, and it still can be when you allow people to actually, tell a story. That wasn't what they were doing here. They were just doing weapons. See, Stokely missed the table because it was an adult table, and he doesn't belong there. If it was a child's table, then he would have hit there just fine. Gunn got pinned. The crowd died. The crowd actually really wasn't as into this. At least it didn't come across on TV like they were that into it. They were saying Green Bay sucks because apparently the Chicago Bears won the North. Good on them. They'll probably fucking fail in the playoffs, but who knows? I hope not, because there are cool people in Chicago that I would like to see, cheer their team. But there are some in this crowd, quite frankly, that don't deserve happiness. I was so baffled by that. For those that went to the show, if you happen to be viewers, please let me know. Was the crowd, were you enjoying yourselves? Did something take you out of the show? Because I'm genuinely curious. It seemed like an odd show or an odd crowd for Chicago. SI award plugs. Good. Okay, whatever. Float your boat, Tony. Babes of Wrath, Willow Nightingale, and Harley Cameron took on Mercedes with extremely fuzzy boots and Athena. Remember when Athena actually was touted as a big signing and they've kept her in ROH purgatory for years? So yeah, AEW Women's Tag Title match. I think the crowd was burned out. They truly were. And you know what? To be fair, after what the finish of Take and Okada trying to get back in for Fletcher and Moxley, and in a Chicago Street Fight, they put the women out there to die. I mean, and Mercedes can work. I am sick of seeing Mercedes until she drops that TBS title that she never fucking deserved to win in the first place. And apparently, she's going to defend the title against Willow on Wednesday. And I'm going to be missing that show because I'm going to be working. So if she loses, I'm going to laugh. And I'm going to say, that's where you belong. Staring up at the lights. Because again, put the TBS title on somebody that deserves it. And just have her defend whatever other titles and do that. Just have her go away. I am sick of seeing her. I don't care if she's beneficial to the women's division as far as ratings or as drawing power. I don't care if she stayed there and helped Layla Gray with her bags. Great for her. As a character, I am sick of seeing her. And she can't act for shit. Anyway, have Athena drop the ROH women's title as well, please. For the love of God already. She's held it for like about 5 million days. I actually think it's about 1,100 days now at this point. And Willow has gotten in better cardio shape. It is not, and this is not shaming, not body shaming at all. It really seems like Willow has upped, her ability, her cardio, and like a lot of stuff, because she seems even more motivated in the ring and is able to just have this power about her, but also preserve more of her body. So good for her. Harley has improved. Athena and Mercedes have issues, despite the fact that Athena, probably was getting frustrated. Like, I've been in ROH Purgatory and we have this uncharismatic. And sorry, as far as promos, Mercedes is uncharismatic. She can't talk, believably at least. A super bomb for 2 and a roll up for 3. So Mercedes did the job about goddamn time. And there were people to point out, oh, Mercedes is losing to the people that she beat before. Okay. What does it matter? Like, what's it matter? Mercedes isn't a good storyteller. I'm sorry, she's not. Lose a TBS title that you don't deserve, and maybe I'll stop getting upset. So anyway, Darby had some weird student film where there was a revived rabbit, there was a weird 1984 Dune-style temple, and I thought the HAL 9000 from 2001 A Space Odyssey was going to make an appearance. And then Darby took on Gabe Kidd, where they both bled. Gabe Kidd being on a U.S. wrestling pay-per-view, especially in a singles match, in this day and age, is a war crime. And again, Gabe Kidd himself is a war crime. They both bled, and Darby won. Hooray. So then we get to this, and okay, I'm sorry. For those that like the mixed nuts match, fine. I'm glad you did. Fuck everybody involved in this goddamn thing. I'm glad I'm not doing any more end-of-year lists after this. I'm at least not doing it for 2026, because I probably need to take a bit of a break from full-time reviewing wrestling. Maybe I can come back in 2027 and do more. But then again, WWE's putting on some bullshit in Saudi Arabia, so maybe I won't. And AEW, who hopefully they'll still be on TV in 2027. But it's Tony Storm, Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, and the Death Riders. Remember Claudio? Poor Claudio. Remember when Claudio was good? Remember when Claudio was taken seriously and didn't have to work with children like Yuta and Garcia and a sack of shit Shafir, whatever. Mixed nuts match. I think Tony Khan is mixing his medications if he thought this was a good idea. And there are people that like this. Oh, it's fun to laugh. This is a deeply unserious wrestling promotion. If I kill WWE for what they do in NXT, if I kill them for what they do on Raw and SmackDown, if I kill them for what they've done on pay-per-view, like the War Games demonstration fiasco stuff and whatever, then I'm going to kill AEW for this stuff. Had I not already done my worst matches of the year list, I would have put this on there. Because Shafir is embarrassing. Somebody needs to sit this stupid broad down and tell her, you aren't good at this. And Yuta, this disgusting little pile of afterbirth. Good God, the doctor should have slapped his mother. And Garcia. I don't care if he can do the moves. You can do these moves elsewhere as far as I'm concerned. And Claudio, a once proud talent. And Orange Cassidy, a joke. He's always been a joke. And there are people that like him. And that's great. Tony Storm, one of the few bright spots in this company. Mark Briscoe, I forgot he was TNT champion. I literally forgot he won the title. And Roddy, sit your wife down and please tell her she's not good at this. Maybe that way you can teach your children that, hey, you can have dreams, but that doesn't mean you're going to be an astronaut. You need to have realistic dreams. A no DQ match, as opposed to half the matches on this goddamn card where the referees aren't allowed to enforce anything. Tony will pay for his crimes for putting Yuta, Garcia, Shafir, and various other jokes on this program. More stupid comedy. Why were Tony and Orange Cassidy dancing? Why was this considered a match? I would have been insulted and walked out of the arena if I had seen this. Had this been taking place, if I had been watching this, like, had this been Tacoma, Seattle, Everett, I would have told my friends, you know what, I'll see you later. I'll wait in the car. I'll go do something else. I'm sorry, this was fucking insulting. Oh, it's entertainment. Well, if you're supposed to be, we're the best wrestle, it's, we're the best dance, I guess. Yuta got pinned. Unfortunately, he walked out under his own powers, so Briscoe didn't hit him hard enough. I don't care if that's harsh. Yuta disgusts me as a wrestling fan. He disgusts me because he absolutely is revolting to watch. God, this pay-per-view. And there were moments that weren't bad. Here's Mina Shirakawa and Luther. Oh, look, Mercedes is losing it and shatters a mirror. I would have rather eaten some of that broken glass because it would have been less painful than listening to this dumb broad try to act. Tony is paying her how much goddamn money, and what has he gotten for it? Bad acting and stupid hair and even, more ridiculous outfits. And the TBS title hasn't meant shit in over a year. And if Willow doesn't beat her on Wednesday, and obviously some people may see this sometime after Dynamite, depending on when you watch this. If she does not beat Mercedes, then you might as well literally just send the women's division home. And just let her go to Double or Nothing. It's disgusting. The TBS title is going to need 8 months, if not a year, to have the shit washed off of it that Mercedes has smeared all over it. And whether she has had good matches or not, she has denigrated and just trashed that title. And I would say this regardless of who had it for that long, if they were this goddamn boring to listen to. So Hayter and Statlander tried to save this pay-per-view and landed on their heads constantly. It was for the AEW Women's Championship, and this might have actually been my favorite match on the show because, oh wait, it's athletes, the title matters, and they tried. The crowd was tired. There was a dropkick to the floor. I thought Jamie Hayter rung her bell there. I don't know why they were laying on each other's heads. I really don't get it. But we got a lariat and we got tombstones. We got, some good action here. And eventually, Statlander hit a tombstone 1, 2, 3. I'm not complaining about the result. I would have rather seen Hayter on top of Statlander. That's what I meant. In a match, of course. I would have liked to have seen Hayter win, but I didn't think she would. And I thought really as far as the women's division, the one title that actually matters on AEW television, until Mercedes fucking loses what she doesn't deserve. And I don't care if that's harsh. I don't care if people think that I'm being too goddamn harsh. I'm sick of her. I'm goddamn sick of her. I'm not sick of Statlander. I'm not sick of Hayter. But there you go. A fine match. Hard hitting. And one of my favorite. I have nothing really, big to, gloat about or, praise like crazy. But I encourage you guys to check this out if you have not seen this match. Moxley against Okada. C2 final. This is the worst case scenario for the finals, and somehow it got worse. So, yeah, ankle focus and a figure 4 and a clover queef and a rainmaker, but just a 2 count and then a low blow and 1 counts, and then Moxley ended up winning. Moxley won. The absolute worst choice of the 4. Take Fletcher, Okada, and Moxley. And then Moxley has all the Death Riders in the ring. Oh, here's Yuta again, because I am not allowed to have peace from this goddamn freaking pile of tumor. What? Why? Just why? Oh, he was at his low point and he won. What they could do is they could have the Death Riders literally beat up Moxley on Wednesday, kick him out, and it wouldn't matter. And they could stave this off into Revolution, and it won't matter. They had their chance to do it, or at least it would have done something with the story. Wouldn't have progressed it, but at least it would have, put a little bit of a wrinkle in it. And now I don't care what happens. I don't care if they all fall over and turn blue in Omaha. And we will, keep giving all we have to the fans. And Moxley's like, this belongs to everyone in the tournament. It's a very babyface rah-rah promo after saying that he was going to burn down the company and hold the title hostage until somebody took it from him. And it made no sense because Moxley makes no sense. Where was Pac, by the way? Where was Pac? I mean, genuinely. Why is this Death Rider stuff still going? Speaking of still going, were the women going in MJF's entrance actually necessary? I mean, nothing against these women as people, but was there a reason? So MJF, Swerve, Joe, and Hangman had a 4-way AEW title match where I know that this pay-per-view should have been over by now. And 2 in, 2 out, and we rinse and repeat, and then we keep doing it again. And it's the same as the rest. It's 2 in, 2 out. So, Hangman missed them all on the Uhura Moonsault, or whatever it's called. And they just did stuff for a while. And they did some good stuff. I'm not going to knock, but it seemed like MJF kept getting laid out a little bit too much, which telegraphed he was going to win. Destroyer by MJF, Panama Sunrise, and then the OPP's, yeah, you know me attack. Hook has... I thought Hook might have actually meant something a few years ago. I think he's just where he's always going to be. And Nana ends up, being besieged by, I think, Hobbs and Shibata. Swerve hits a stomp outside. Hangman gets choked out, and then MJF shoves Swerve off after a stomp to Joe and a bomb off the top. So basically, Swerve's out. We get a few buckshots, we get a low blow to Hangman, and then we get the heat seeker on Joe. 1, 2, 3, big pop, MJF gets the victory. So at least we close with MJF winning the title 2 years after he had lost the title. So there, okay, we at least have some storytelling I can care about. I didn't hate this pay-per-view despite how much I complained about stuff. There were good elements. But as far as... I wouldn't have the Continental Classic next year. If Moxley is the route you're going to take as far as a champion, I'm sorry, that pretty much just puts a layer of bleh all over it. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, here are the next set of videos I got. I might have a couple retro wrestling reviews or movie reviews or something. Once New Year's Smash, I think is what it's called, New Year's Dash New Japan. Once that's done, Wrestle Kingdom, and then I'll see what I do, guys. I'll post a channel update video once I decide what I'm going to do. So, yeah, that's World's End. End of my patience with some things, because Tony Khan doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And Yuta's still here. So anyway, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Rentlin. And until we revisit the All Elite Wrestling program again, happy trails to you.